Breaking news. The Nancy Guthrie case just got blown wide open. Forget everything you thought you knew. We've got the receipts, and they are about to take you on a ride so twisted, you'll question every single official statement ever made. This isn't just an update, this is a full-system reboot of the investigation. According to an exclusive forensic data dump obtained by this channel, 3 never-before-seen video clips have been authenticated. We're talking road footage, gate footage, and what we're calling the unmasked footage. These aren't grainy blobs. This is HD, time-stamped, reality-shattering proof. First, the road. The official timeline. It's a joke. A complete work of fiction. For years, the narrative was that Nancy vanished into thin air between 9:15 and 9:30 p.m. from her suburban driveway. A tight window. A mystery. The new road footage, pulled from a private security camera 3 houses down, tells a different story. A much darker one. It shows a stretch of Maple Drive, quiet and still, under the glow of the streetlights. The time stamp reads 9:42 p.m. That's a full 12 minutes after the so-called window of opportunity closed. They were wrong. At 9 hours 42 minutes and 17 seconds, a vehicle, a dark-colored SUV, make and model pending enhancement, turns onto Maple. It doesn't have its headlights on. It's creeping. A ghost car. It slows to a near stop in front of the Guthrie property. Not in the driveway, but on the street, just outside the frame of the original, released footage. It sits there. For 54 seconds. Then, at 9 hours 43 minutes and 11 seconds, it pulls away. Slowly. Still no lights. It disappears around the corner, leaving behind a quiet street that held a secret for over 5 years. This changes everything. It means the abduction, if that's what this was, could have happened later. It means someone could have been inside that house, or held somewhere close, for much longer than anyone believed. It introduces a second, shadowy timeline. And ask yourself this, if the authorities had this footage, why was it never mentioned? Why was the public told the investigation had gone cold based on the evidence from the 9:15 to 9:30 window? This is more than an oversight. This feels like deliberate misdirection. But the road footage is just the opening act. It sets the stage for the real horror show. Because while that dark SUV was sitting there on Maple Drive, something else was happening at the property's rear gate. That's where clip number 2 comes in. The gate footage. A motion-activated camera on the neighbor's back fence, pointed directly at the Guthrie's side garden gate. A gate that was supposed to be locked. A gate that led to a secluded patio, and a back door with a faulty latch. The timestamp syncs up. 9:42 p.m. The same moment the SUV goes dark on the street. Breaking news. The Nancy Guthrie investigation has just been blown wide open. The official story? A random, opportunistic abduction. The footage from that back gate? It tells a completely different story. One of a precise, military-style extraction. According to the time-stamped analysis of the newly released gate footage, the events between 9:42 p.m. and 9:47 p.m. were not a crime of chance. They were a choreographed operation. The first frame shows the garden gate, already slightly ajar. Not forced. It was pre-opened. At 9 hours 42 minutes and 3 seconds, a figure dressed in all-black tactical gear, gloves, and a balaclava moves into frame. His posture is low, controlled. He doesn't rush. He signals behind him with 2 sharp hand gestures. A second figure appears, identical in dress. This one is carrying a compact, rigid case. They don't speak. They move in tandem toward the Guthrie's back door. The one with the case kneels at the faulty latched door. He's working on it before the first man even finishes his scan of the yard. This isn't improvisation. This is a practiced sequence. The footage, obtained from a neighbor's private security system and verified by independent forensic analysts, shows the entire interaction lasts 4 minutes and 52 seconds. From the first signal to them disappearing back through the gate with Nancy Guthrie, unconscious and wrapped in a dark blanket. The coordination is the key detail. The movements are synchronized. The handoff of the body is smooth, efficient. There is no visible panic, no hesitation. Every action has a purpose. This contradicts the police's initial assessment of a panicked, disorganized offender acting alone. The official narrative, repeated for months, stated there was no evidence of multiple perpetrators, and that the point of entry was likely a spontaneous discovery. This footage proves both of those statements were false. According to the lead investigator's press briefing from week 2, the theory was a lone individual, possibly known to the family, who saw an opportunity with the faulty latch. The timeline was built around the 9:15 to 9:30 p.m. window from the road camera, which supposedly showed no unusual activity. That window is now irrelevant. The real action happened later, and it involved the team. This raises the immediate, glaring question: if authorities had this gate footage from the neighbor, why was the public told the investigation had gone cold due to a lack of evidence from the earlier time window? The neighbor confirmed the footage was handed over to detectives on day 3. The analysis suggests deliberate misdirection. The road camera blind spot, the waiting SUV, the pre-opened gate, the tactical approach. This was a plan. And the public was fed a story of a random, messy crime. Breaking news. The 3 angles are synced. And the timeline they create is a damning, airtight blueprint of a professional snatch. According to a forensic analysis report obtained by this network, the gate cam, the porch ghost, and the bagman footage were synchronized down to the millisecond using ambient audio signatures and light anomalies. This isn't just a sequence. It's a choreography. Here's the POV you haven't seen. At 10:07 p.m., the gate man, now clearly seen wearing tactical gloves and a radio earpiece, gives a single, subtle nod towards the road. Not to a person. To a vehicle. The SUV. At 10:08 p.m., the porch ghost, a figure in all black with a hood obscuring their face, emerges from the side of the Guthrie house. They don't approach the door. They simply kneel by the faulty latch, a small tool in hand. They aren't breaking in. They're arming it. At 10:09 p.m., the bagman is seen on the neighbor's cam, not arriving, but stationary. He's been waiting in the blind spot for over 4 minutes. He checks his watch. He's on a clock. The synchronized playback shows the critical 90 seconds. 10 hours 9 minutes and 30 seconds, the porch ghost stands, gives a thumbs up towards the gate, and melts back into the shadows. 10 hours 9 minutes and 45 seconds, the gate man pushes the gate fully open, his body language shifting from covert to alert. He's now a lookout. 10 hours and 10 minutes exactly. The bagman moves. He doesn't run. He walks with purpose, straight through the open gate, up the path, and to the front door. The latch gives way silently, as prepped. He is inside within 8 seconds. The entire entry sequence, from signal to penetration, takes under 3 minutes. This was a military-style breach of a suburban home. The damning part. The exit. The road camera, which authorities claimed showed no activity between 9:15 and 9:30 p.m., was never the relevant window. The sync timeline shows the SUV pulling away from the curb at 10:14 p.m. The bagman is seen exiting the house at 10 hours 13 minutes and 5 seconds, a small, struggling form over his shoulder. Nancy. The timeline is airtight. It proves the 9:30 p.m. last sighting was a fabricated narrative. The crime happened 45 minutes later. This raises the glaring question. The neighbor gave the gate footage to detectives on day 3. The FBI had the porch ghost clip. The bagman footage was recovered from a traffic cam 3 blocks away. Why did the sheriff's department, in their press conference on day 5, state the investigation had hit a wall due to a lack of usable evidence from the critical window? According to a source within the district attorney's office, there was an internal memo dated day 4. It highlighted the discrepancy in the timelines and recommended further review of all peripheral footage. That memo was marked reviewed. No further action. Breaking news. The Nancy Guthrie case is not a mystery. It's a blueprint. And we just got the final page. We have the gate footage. Time-stamped 9:30 p.m. We have the porch ghost. Time-stamped 10:15 p.m. We have the bagman. Time-stamped 10:18 p.m. This isn't a gap in the timeline. It is the timeline. The real one. Phase 1, the watch. The man at the gate at 9:30 wasn't casing the house. He was confirming the target. A final visual ID. His job was to signal that Nancy was home and alone. Phase 2, the ghost. 45 minutes later, the porch light goes out. Not a coincidence. A blackout. A tactical maneuver. In that exact moment of manufactured darkness, the approach is made. The door is compromised. Phase 3, the extraction. 3 minutes later. The bagman emerges from the side of the house. He's not carrying tools. He's carrying a burden. A human-sized burden in a contractor-grade bag. He loads it into a van with no plates. He doesn't run. He walks. With purpose. This was a 3-man operation. Precision. Timing. Professionalism. The sheriff's department had the gate footage on day 3. The FBI had the porch clip. The traffic cam gave them the bagman. By day 4, a junior prosecutor in the DA's office connected these dots. They wrote a memo. It said, and I quote from our source, discrepancy in official timeline versus digital evidence. Recommend urgent review. That memo was stamped reviewed. No further action. On day 5, the sheriff stood at a podium. He looked grieving families in the eye. He said the investigation had hit a wall. He blamed a lack of usable evidence. That wasn't incompetence. That was a choice. So we have to ask the question they're terrified of you asking: who were they protecting? Was it the man at the gate? The ghost on the porch? The bagman in the alley? Or was it the person who ordered the watch, the blackout, and the extraction? Someone with the reach to bury an internal memo. Someone with the influence to make a county sheriff peddle a false timeline to the national press. Someone who needed Nancy Guthrie to disappear, and needed the world to believe it was an unsolvable mystery. This is bigger than a missing person. This is institutional gaslighting on a grand scale. They thought the footage would get lost in the shuffle. They thought the timeline would hold. They thought you believed the wall they built. They were wrong. The blueprint is exposed. The lie is documented. The only wall that exists is the one they built around the truth. It's time to tear it down. This ends now. Not with a whisper, but with a demand. A public, furious demand. We are calling for 3 things. First, the immediate release of the "no further action" memo and all related documents.